Welcome to She Sells Radio. I am so excited for today's episode. And part of why I'm thrilled for this conversation today and to bring you my guest is that I know it's very possible if you're like me, then some of your background in sales may have been slogging through cold calling and copy and paste emails and doing totally impersonal things that just, I think for us women really don't feel right, right? Like it doesn't feel natural. We want to connect, we want to build relationships, we want to sell authentically from the heart. And yet we're told by so many, for me, I was told for years by my leadership in sales. And I noticed other companies I would go in and train in that they taught their sales teams, like, just say this, just do this, just follow the script. Like it's a volume game, move quickly through people. And that never felt right to me. And so part of what I love about this platform is that I get to bring you other amazing women who did it their way and who achieved massive success following their instincts, following their intuition, and really honoring that more feminine energy of wanting to build relationships and connect with their clients. And so my guest today did that in an amazing way. And she's in the top 1%. So top 1% of a direct to consumer business as an entrepreneur and business leader. And she's coached hundreds of women on her team to grow their business and increase their revenue in a way that's aligned with their natural feminine energy. And she works with really incredible female entrepreneurs who want to quit their 9-to-5 jobs and embrace their entrepreneurial adventure. She's got some major philanthropic things that she's doing in the world, which we'll talk about today as well. And so please welcome to She Sells Radio, Amanda Hall. Amanda, welcome. We're so excited to have you.
I couldn't be more excited. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Elyse.
Oh my gosh. Well, we've had fun and it's been cool getting to know you. Like we were connected by a mutual friend, Marlena, and then you gave me the honor of coming and speaking to your group, Girls with Goals Who Give, who we'll talk about that group here. And we've done a live together. And I was like, I've got to get this woman on my show. And I think part of what I appreciate about you is your realness. Like we've connected. I think one of our Zooms, it was like your daughter was creating an Easter egg, like while we were talking, she was right next to you. And I was like, oh my gosh, mom life. I love this. I just love like how real you are and how to me, that feels like one of your superpowers that you've embraced to help create success. So give us a little bit of backstory on your journey in sales. I'm sure, women want to know, how did you hit that 1%? And then how has that led you to what you're doing today?
Well, I just want to say that I never even realized that I was in sales until, I swear, one day, it was probably 1 or 2 years into my direct to consumer business, when the person on the other end of the call, and a million calls ago, said, you're a really good saleswoman. And I remember feeling so embarrassed. I remember thinking, I'm selling? Is that what I'm doing here? And, then the more that I thought about it, I said, you know what, this is selling, but I'm not even selling. I'm doing something that feels really honest and unique. And I feel that I am sharing in a way of something that's truly authentic to me. And that's the first time that I realized that I am a good saleswoman, because I'm very real and very honest and very open and raw. And so I think that one conversation made me realize that I have a gift and I should run with it. I should use that to my advantage, because it was something that was really honest and true to who I was. And as soon as that clicked for me, and I realized it is okay to sell, and it's a beautiful thing the way that I am selling. That's when it all really took off for me. And I started to have conversations with everyone and really I believed in the product that I was selling, but I don't know that I necessarily believed in the way that I was building the business, until I realized that it was through that authenticity that I was actually attracting my customers and building these deeper relationships. And that's what I really leaned into that. And that's what took me to the top.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And I know one of the things you talk about is how to be attractive so you can attract. And we want to like define what attractive is, right? But can you
For
speak to that
sure.
and how you leverage that in growing the business?
Definitely. And I do want to share, like you said, I'm not talking about physically attractive. While I think it's important for us to feel our best, to look our best so that we could feel our best, no matter what that looks like. Attracting to be able to attract somebody is being able to almost like send an energy out into the universe that allows people to feel like they want to come talk to you, or they feel very comfortable coming to you for whatever it is, whether it's to have a conversation or to pour their heart out or to buy a product from you. um, I was never in the business of pounding down people's door or begging. And I know just from experience of coaching hundreds or thousands probably of women that that happens to be a struggle, where some people, they're putting out this energy of, push, 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 go, go, go. And it's actually doing the opposite. It's making people run away. So it's really important to put out this very easygoing, energy that attracts the right people. I mean, not everybody's going to be attracted to you, of course, and your energy, but you will attract your people and the people that are energetically aligned to you, whether or not you believe in this kind of stuff. Whatever your personality is, if you could let your guard down and take a deep breath and just be the real you and share in a way that's very real and authentic to you, that's going to be extremely attractive to the people who align with you most.
Yeah.
And even those that, might not seem like they would be, they might seem like not a perfect friendship, but they're just very attracted to your energy and what you're putting out into the universe. Very positive, smiling, honest, and raw.
And how would you, because I know you coach a lot of women who are starting their businesses, how would you coach a woman who says, yes, I get that. I want to have that easygoing, attractive energy. I don't want to be pushy, but I don't have any customers yet. Because then we can kind of get into that more of like the scarcity mode. So, how would you coach a woman to do that if she doesn't have clients pouring in the door for her yet?
Well, I think we would dig a little bit deeper as probably, anyone that's getting into the realm of sales or any type of business. There's a mindset. And I know that you're big into this. There's a mindset that goes along with it. So it's really digging into their mind and figuring out who they really are. Like, who are you as a person? What are your values? What are your core values? What matters to you the most? Because when you can share that authentically, when you give off that vibe, when you present that in such a way, or some women, they don't even know what they want. They don't even know why they're doing their job. They don't even know, what drives them. So I like to dial it back to the very, very core and figure out, what is it that you really want out of this? Why
Mm,
are you doing this? What are your values? And then let's really figure out a plan that aligns with who you are. Because listen, what works for me and my language, I would never give somebody blanket language and say, here, go send this out. I would say, this is a template. Let's talk about the way that this feels to you. How does this
mm,
align with your values? Is this something you could see yourself even saying? So we really start at the very, very beginning. And I talk to them. How do you speak to a friend? How, when you call up a best friend and you're, sharing something really honest and deep, how do you talk to them? That's the way that you want to plug into your sales frequency, so to
yeah.
speak.
Yeah. I absolutely love that. And that's why when I'm coaching women, like I talk about, I've had very embarrassing stories of like trying to follow the script exactly and customers calling me out on it because they could tell it wasn't genuine. So that's why I love your perspective on it's like a template. It's almost like guardrails. And I know you said too that earlier part of what was successful for you was just having conversations with everyone, which no doubt ties into what you're really passionate about teaching women how to do, which is network and connect, and ties into the work you're doing now with girls who give. So tell us about, maybe you have some tips on how to connect at a deeper level when we're having those conversations, and you can tie in, the work you're doing with your group now,
Sure.
and some of the things women can be doing. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that the most important thing, or one of my favorite tips for building those deeper relationships is really getting comfortable speaking to other people. And I know that sounds really elementary and it sounds very basic, but when I come to the table at Girls with Goals Who Give, we host 4 networking experiences a month that are on Zoom because of what we've been experiencing over the pandemic. And we've created this really amazing virtual space for women to come and have these incredibly inspiring conversations. And we prompt questions so that the women have an opportunity to walk away, not only feeling inspired, but with connections for their business. But the one thing that I find so often is that either it gets to, let's say we're going around the table and it comes to a certain person and she freezes or she can't stop talking. You know, it's going on and on and on and on for 3, 4, 5 minutes. Or we ask a question and the question isn't really answered. So people are left like kind of wondering. And to me, it means that there's so many elements actually that come into having a conversation and building a relationship that people don't realize. You know, they think, oh, I have friends, I don't need to learn how to connect and build relationships. But if you want to build that legacy business, and listen, everybody who's working for themselves, anyone who's an entrepreneur, or even if you're in sales, you have to sell yourself. It goes with the territory, and you have to learn how to be comfortable talking to people, how to answer their questions, communicate directly and concisely, and not go off on tangents, because people, listen, it's all about them, tiny, their interests, not yours. You know what I mean? So it's understanding those principles about how you can tie their interests into the conversation, even if it is about you and you're sharing more about your story. It's how do they fit into your story? And it's learning those little pieces, you know, the sharing what you do and how that person fits into the story, how that person fits into the sale. Obviously, we're not selling them on the first date, but how they are just painting that picture and feeling really confident doing so. And you brought up a great point, is that, you know, I sometimes forget to mention this, is that it really, all of these tips I learned through experience and having thousands of conversations, because I did not start out on day one being who I, you know, having this type of conversations that I have right now, like the one we're having. And I was a completely different person, even when that woman said to me, "You're a great salesperson." Like, it's been so many steps in the process, but it's really understanding how to communicate properly and including the other person in the conversation to build those deeper connections.
Yeah, which is so important. And it's so like, I think for me, I know I've had times in my life where I felt like, oh my gosh, I just totally missed it in that conversation with that person. And I'm coaching some women right now who are younger in their sales journey. And it's interesting. One of them actually asked me, I think it was last week, she said, how can I be more clear in my communication? Like, how can I be more direct? And I thought that is such a wise question to be asking, because for me at least, and I'd love your opinion on this, it's when I don't feel comfortable in myself. And that was a lot more my story in the beginning. Like, I didn't feel comfortable with myself. So I would ramble, I would project, I would, talk around stuff. And it's that grounded, anchored energy, like that relaxed energy, like you talked about, that I think helps us feel really calm and confident, where we can focus on the other person. Do you have any other tips for women who are, let's say, like they're networking, they're building deeper connections, maybe they're on a sales conversation, maybe not, but they're wanting to really stay focused on service and get out of their own head. Is there anything else that you would offer that you think would be helpful for them?
For sure, for sure. So coming into every single relationship, every new opportunity to meet somebody new, the mindset is always, like I said, about them. And it's always about adding value and figuring out everybody has a value add. And I know it's sometimes hard for us to know what our unique gift is, but we all have it. And if you struggle with it, ask a best friend, ask somebody who knows you really well. When you think of me and something that's really unique and special about me, what is that quality? Am I a good listener? Do I make you, and I'll never forget this. And I'm only sharing this story because this is actually the perfect segue. I just turned 40 in December. So
I love it. You look amazing.
thank you.
Yes.
And my girlfriends took me out, and I'm not one to like going around the table and talking about myself, but one of my girlfriends said, let's go around and I went around and said about everybody why I appreciate them and thank you for taking me and what I value in our friendship. And then one of the girls said, let's go around and all share what we love about Amanda. And the common thread that I discovered, once again, without really noticing that of myself, is that I make people feel special.
Mm,
And it's not something that I would have ever pegged myself for, but it's a quality that I've found to be really successful in building those relationships and in building my sales team and just making people feel valued and making people feel special. And everybody has a unique quality that doesn't have to be your quality, but the idea is that that's at the end of the day, we all want to feel seen and heard, right? And a great way to do that is to make the other person feel valued. So how can you add value to this person's life in your unique way?
yeah.
And my way is sending a special gift. My way is sending a birthday card. My way is picking up the phone and just calling them, or spending, going out for the day and just having, like, I love having fun. My friends know that, like, it's always a good time. So spending a really special day together. So just thinking of ways that I can make other people feel special and not be taking count and not be, ticking off my little ticker saying, okay, their turn now. It's just I want to give, and it's just a giving circle. It's like a full giving circle. When you give, you get, and it's just the way the world works.
I absolutely love that. And I remember being earlier in my sales journey, and I was working in a company that had mostly male leader. And this is like, I want to be clear too, like, I love my men. I have a lot of male listeners. And so I always hope that this comes across the way I mean it to. But there's a very like masculine vibe, we'll say, in this company. And there was one female leader who I was working with directly, and the rest of the leadership was pretty much all men. And the mentality around sales in the company was make 100 calls, say this thing specifically, just follow the script and you can't go wrong. And it did work. So I don't want to say it didn't work. It did work, but it never felt right to me. And the female leader who I was working with, she was actually the top producer in the whole company. And she did it differently though. She was very much like you, like she loved making people feel special. She loved sending gifts. She would always know birthdays, special moments. And that was how she actually sold more than anybody else. And it almost felt, when I heard it, and I would imagine, for people who are listening, they may be, if they are in that very masculine environment, they may be like, wait, can you actually be more successful doing it that way than what I've been taught? To me, the answer is yes. I hear you saying the answer is yes too.
Absolutely. And, I'm sorry, were you finished with your question?
Yeah. No, I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that. Yeah.
So you had said something before that you had said, when there's a blanket template and somebody comes, like you said, somebody gave it to you and it didn't feel right, or it didn't really work for you. And it was like you felt called out almost. And that has been me many times over the years, where I was given something or told to do something a certain way. And I sometimes would get to that point of, let me just try what they're telling me to do, because maybe it will work. And it always backfired. It always, for me, and I'm not saying that's for everyone, but for me, it always backfired because it wasn't intentional.
Yeah.
And there's something about when you're really intentional about the way that you approach somebody, that makes a big difference. And people feel that even if you're not together, they feel there's like an energetic exchange that happens when in either situation. It could be like good or bad energy. And the idea is to come from a place of good intentions and come from a place that's from the heart and do it your way. So again, when you're handed something that's a blanket script, then figure out a way to make it work for you in a way that feels more comfortable, whether it means tweaking some words, language, or even the way that you set up that initial call or that initial meeting. You have to put your own sprinkles and touches on it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so true. And to me, that speaks of trusting yourself. And that was something I struggled with for so long. I made myself wrong because the way I wanted to do things was different from what everybody else. And that's actually like the core message that I want to teach women now is trust themselves. And I know with your group, Girls with Goals Who Give, it seems like you really help women anchor into like standing firm in their belief systems and setting boundaries around that. So how would you, I'd love if you want to share a little bit more about the group. I know you told us you do the networking events, but tell us a little bit more about the group. And then also, how do you teach women in that group to trust themselves and to do it their own way?
Absolutely. So we have the 4 networking events, like you mentioned, and then twice a month we bring in outside expert speakers. Like we brought you in, and everybody loved you so much for our sales
Oh,
psychology month. Really, they really did. Everybody was emailing me after.
oh, thank you.
So twice a month, we bring in these outside experts to come and speak about growing a digital business, growing a business online. After everything we've gone through over the past year, there were a lot of entrepreneurs that were thrust into this online space and trying to figure out how to make all the wheels turn. It's not as easy as people think, it's like, oh, sure, let me do a digital business. It'll be so inexpensive and so easy. And I'll just sip cocktails on the beach. And it's
Yeah, that's it.
quite the opposite experience. It's actually double the damage.
Yep.
So what we do is we bring these outside experts in so that we can teach women how to not only grow their digital business, but how to build those authentic connections through the digital platforms. Even in person, we're teaching them because even though we're on Zoom, we are having live conversations. And we do that because we control, myself and my partner Lisa control the vibe, or the flow of how everything goes, and we're really honest and open. We are open books, and that's the vibe that we put out into the group. And so that's what, everything comes from the top when they see the leaders speaking from the heart, speaking honestly, openly, raw, allowing people to give us constructive feedback and not, shutting down and being defensive. Like, we are real people, just like anyone else who's joining us. We're all a team, we're a tribe. So we're trying to spread that type of feeling and, throughout the group, so that when people come to our group, even like an outsider, because we have these 2 open networking events where it's not members and non-members mix. So these open to non-member meetings, they don't know what to expect, the non-members, but it's just this like immediate, they're switched into this new mode because everything is elevated when they're in our group. They're the way that we're speaking to each other, the way that we treat each other. Lisa and I prompt questions so that there's an element of, it is stretching people out of their comfort zone. You are going to be put in the hot seat, if even for 30 seconds to a minute. And let's see what what you've got. And if you're stumbling, then you have an opportunity for us to give you some really constructive, awesome feedback. But also to kind of smooth it over and just say, like, good job. You're here to learn and to grow. And we want you to feel comfortable doing that, because that's what we're doing. We're helping women feel comfortable in a space of growth and feel comfortable messing up and trying again. And that's how they can then go out and spread their wings and have these amazing relationships and conversations.
Ah, I love that. I love it. It's like, come as you are. You can be yourself. You can practice. You can mess up, because I think that's where we can get so hung up, is if we get caught in like the perfectionism trap, or for me, I know like I was the lone wolf for so many years, and it was really just injured feminine, where I didn't think I was worthy of friendships of other women, and I felt like I didn't have anything to add. And so I love, that's part of, to me, the value of being in a group, whether it's a mastermind, a group program like yours, like to have that community where you can't hide. So you have to start getting comfortable bringing all of you and fall back in love with who you are inside, knowing how amazing she is. So I think that's so phenomenal. And I want to ask you, Amanda, so in a moment, I'd love if you'd share where women can go if they want to find out more about your group. But one final question for you, because I know you've coached so many women to be successful in sales, to build wealth. And if you had just one piece of advice to give to a woman who's wanting to break through her first 6 figures, so 6 figures and beyond, but she's like, I'm going for that 100K this year, what would be the one thing that you would tell her to do?
My favorite line is like, you are not your past, you are what you can
Mm.
foresee in the future. And so when you see other women crushing it, or even men, if you see somebody else in your position or somebody else doing something totally different, doing it well and crushing it, allow that to be your motivation and allow that to be an opportunity for you to say, like, this is possible for me. And I know what it feels like to be stuck in a place of, I was never able to do it before, or I never really believed in myself before. So, like, I was kind of stuck in that mindset. So, if you can remember that you have the opportunity today to wake up and change everything for yourself with your
Mm.
mindset and the way that you embrace other people's success and tap into those people, learn from them. Don't be afraid to reach out to them, learn from them. People love to teach and educate, and see them not as your enemy and not as your competition, but as someone that can help you actually get to where you know that you can go.
Ah.
Just always remember that there's more out there for you, and you're ready.
So amazing. I love everything about that. I love everything about that. Amanda, where can women go to find out about Girls with Goals Who Give? Where can they connect with you? Tell us all the things.
Sure, I would love to. So our website is girlswithgoalswhogive.com. So it's super easy. I know it's a long one, but girlswithgoalswhogive.com. And we are at Girls with Goals Who Give on Instagram. I am at by Amanda Hall. That's my brand on Instagram as well. And yeah, and you can check out all of our events on the Girls with Goals Who Give homepage. You can find all the links to Girls with Goals Who Give on my own personal platform. And I look forward to hearing from anyone who wants to reach out. I love, 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 as you guys heard today, I love connecting
Yeah.
and learning more about other people and how I can help them succeed, and supporting one another.
Yeah. And this is really such an amazing mission and an organization. Like Amanda said, I had the opportunity to come in and spend some time with the women there. And so I can vouch for it, how incredible the hearts are of Amanda and Lisa in leadership, and then the women who are involved. So I'd say definitely go check it out, go get involved. I think everyone right now is wanting more community and more connection, which is exactly what you offer. And the biggest thing that I'm taking for myself today is that it's okay to do it your own way. Like, stop making yourself wrong because a script doesn't feel right to you. You feel like you got to fit in a box. You don't. You can do it your way. And when you decide to do it your way and honor all of who you are, not only can you be successful, but you will be more successful when you do that. So trust yourself and use Amanda as an example of what's possible when you do that. So Amanda, I just want to say thank you again so much for being here, for your heart, and for the example that you set for me and for all the women listening. Absolutely amazing.
Thank you so much, Elyse. And I love your summary. It was perfect.
Ah,
And I really appreciate the opportunity again. This was really fun. I always love being with you.
yeah, we have so much fun. I feel like there's more stuff
For
coming for us, and we were messaging
sure.
about like, let's just see what happens. Like, I don't know, but there's something
It's
good.
coming.
There's more good stuff coming. So yeah, so definitely go check out Amanda, check out Girls with Goals Who Give. Thank you so much for tuning in this week to She Sells Radio. And just remember that closing line: trust yourself, trust yourself, trust yourself. Follow your instincts. You will achieve everything you want in sales, business, and life when you do it that way and more. So much love to you, my friend. Thank you again for tuning in today. And we will see you next week on She Sells Radio.